Well, this is a Late Late Show of BT reviews with security and law have been provided to you, the public. We are back and we're trying something a little different. So we used to broadcast at 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. And that was like doing a show type atmosphere. But now we have gone through some changes and we really are interested in this being produced. So the way that we're choosing to broadcast it is for the Late Late Show with BT. So everything is for it. So those are the times that um, that we're interested in it and broadcasting it. And this is still gonna stay within the format and the resources of how we would like for it to be produced. So it's out of this is the show and going into four. This is for the Late Late Show with BT. So we will be reading, we as in the show, will be reading from April Money 2016, April 2016 Health, and Fortune March 15, 2016. So that's March 15, 2016 Fortune, Health April 2016, and Money April 2016. So this is by Jennifer Reingold. So how it goes is I select some publishings that are supportive of this community that we support and go from there. And so the times will be different. The times aren't set. It's just if we're in that spirit of Late Late Show for the Late Late Show BT, then it is time to broadcast. And as far as the 2 hours, we're gonna see how that goes. So back with Jennifer Reingold. In between the wrapping and the report on the company's holidays initiative to support pet adoptions, Cy 42 takes to the stage to report disappointing news. He announces that scores on Fortune's Best Companies to Work For survey have tumbled on 48 of 58 questions. I don't think it's going to be all roses. Still, there's been a lot to get through lately. The shift to Holacracy, combined with a widely ambitious software project called SuperCloud, not to mention a reconceived business strategy, has left employees confused, demoralized, and whipsawed by the constant pace of change. A current employee who filled out a survey provided to Fortune by the company following the all-hands meeting praised Cy for openness about the negative feedback, but added in a burst of frustration, "I would have liked to hear some actions that may be taken to address how drastically approval of managers in legacy leadership has fallen, and how strongly more and more employees are feeling like favoritism and management issues are becoming a bigger problem. They aren't remnants of legacy structure that have survived despite holacracy. They're things that have somehow found power in it and worsened in the current system." He moved the company to the suburbs of Las Vegas to build a culture apart from Silicon Valley, then uprooted it again to a gritty area of downtown Vegas in hopes of creating a work-life paradise. The result has been an epic clash between a doctrinaire set of rules and a culture whose very essence has been a tolerance for the unruliness that comes with individual self-expression. They believe in the company, even as they wonder what it will stand for, but at times it feels as if Psy, to borrow an old phrase, may be destroying the village in order to save it. He wrote a book called Delivering Happiness, which asserted that employee satisfaction is the key to business success. But Psy worried that Zappos was becoming more bureaucratic and losing some of its spark. Lead links are the nominal managers, but they have little formal authority and can't force employees to do anything they don't want to do. In early 2013, the Human Resources Department became the first group of the company to deploy holacracy. Employees were shocked and frustrated by the numerous mandates, the endless meetings, and the confusion about who did what. Introverts have benefited from the expectation that everybody speak in meetings. My worst day at Zappos is still better than my best day anywhere else, he says. I can't imagine going back to traditional hierarchy anymore. The biggest shock for Holly Delaney, previously the head of people experiences at Zappos, and now the lead link of the people ops circle, among others, was that as a career manager, she no longer had the muscle to force anything to happen. Her long-time career goal, to become the VP of Human Resources, was no longer achievable at Zappos. Yeah, I had the big title and the quote-unquote power, but is having an experienced HR executive spend much of her time on a road race really the best use of for her and for Zappos? Attention is simply the difference between what currently is and what could potentially be. Tensions could be anything from practical obstacles to brainstorms, and they proliferated, but were mostly tabled for resolution at a later time. In the beginning, I thought holacracy was great, she says. To stave off the anxiety of not knowing what you'll be paid, the company created a grandfather badge that guaranteed pay wouldn't fall in 2016. If they don't, they can end up on the beach, a kind of purgatory. You just sat in a conference room and talked with the Y coaches about what your passions were. Who says she landed on the beach after clashing with a lead link? Today, the beach has been renamed and the path split. Meanwhile, holacracy has been the only disruption. Roadside. We are going to take a rip the Band-Aid approach to accelerate progress towards becoming a teal organization as described in the book Reinventing Organizations. Tsai was referring to a 2014 book by a consultant who argues that throughout history, people have organized themselves in various ways. Many people who had helped create Zappos and had risen to become leaders were being told they were no longer wanted. Having spent much of the past few years building and personally funding to the tune of $350 million, the Downtown Project, an attempt to build a work-life community in the heart of Las Vegas, Tsai has ambitions beyond commerce. Its creator, Robertson, says the process takes 5 to 10 years to be fully integrated, an aeon in business. He interviewed 15 to 20 employees beforehand, then spoke to a group of about 150. Some refer to a book called The Dip, which argues that in times of great transition, things always get worse before they get better. We grew up, says Tyler Williams, who leads the brand Aura Circle, aka marketing. Now we are getting back to that place where we are being kind and forgiving to people, and people that use holacracy as a weapon are finding themselves getting smaller and smaller islands to work from. Many are pushing to bring culture back to the forefront. We didn't get ranked one of the best companies to work for in America this year, but we're still really a great company. Yet that may be true in spite of holacracy rather than because of it. Jennifer Ringgold. Best tech companies in the San Francisco area. Christopher Tuzik with Carrie Wagner, Director of Legal Talent of Cooley. Request a copy of your schedule the day before the interview and research your interviewers by looking them up on the website or on LinkedIn. So this is regarding the 100 best companies to work for with Robert Levering. This year, we were struck by the prevalence of egalitarian practices at all 100 companies. In December, the company's president defended spreading the wealth as crucial to the company's success. In order to treat better alignment across all employees, our bonus structure treats everyone equally. The big bonus checks at Hill Corp stand out because of the dollar amount, but the inclusive attitude expressed is what we see at many, if not most, companies on this list. Nationwide, the $36 billion mutual insurance and financial services giant raised the minimum wage of its call center workers to $15 an hour from $10.50. As we compare the results from this year's Great Place to Work Trust Index employee survey with those of our 1998 list, we saw that measures related to fairness showed the biggest improvements. The number of employees who said yes when asked if they felt they were paid fairly for the work they do jumped 13%. There was a 17% increase, likewise, in employees who believe they are treated as a full member here, regardless of my position, and a 26% bump in those feeling that they have an equal opportunity to get special recognition. Salesforce Executive Vice President explained its gender equity initiative in these terms. At Salesforce, we believe that business can be great platforms for change. Making the world a better place for everyone and being financially successful are not mutually exclusive endeavors. It's nice to be one of the best places to work. It's even nicer making your place one of the best places to work. We built a better finance and HR system so our customers can do their best work, make better decisions, and grow their businesses. Workday, built for the future. And of those 100 best companies is number 3, the Boston Consulting Group. This global consultancy has spent $110 million in the past 10 years to address the burnout problem endemic to the industry. BCG recently instituted a program called PTO, Predictability, Teaming, and Open Communication, that offers better work-life balance and reports a 74% increase in intention to stay for the long term. Coming at number 11, Genentech. The 40-year-old biotech firm asked for staff input before building a new 68,000 square foot employee center. Features include a farmer's market, a spa, pool tables, massage chairs, a fitness center with saunas, a primary and urgent care clinic, and a career development hub. Coming in at 39, Riot Games. New rioters are welcomed with denubification and intensive immersion that starts with what else? A session of gaming. To build a portfolio for the long haul, you need a strong foundation. Donna Hyland, CEO of Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. If you focus on engagement, productivity is one of the many fruits that will come, including better quality, better financial management, and other business goals. At Children's, we believe that people have chosen professions they enjoy and desire to be great at them. John Noseworthy, President and CEO of the Mayo Clinic. These efforts add up to better care for our patients and higher levels of staff management. And the Mayo Clinic was at 86. So back to Christopher Tkaczyk, who took on Publix, which was number 67. Her thick Brooklyn accent informs me right away that she's not a native Floridian. I've been getting a crash course in a world-class service the Publix way, an approach that over the past 2 decades has made the chain an annual fixture near the top of the supermarket rankings compiled by the American Customer Satisfaction Index. Thanks for shopping at Publix, I say brightly. The chain's relentless focus on pleasing its customers goes a long way toward explaining why Publix continues to be a growth story in the beleaguered grocery business. Last year, it ranked number 101 on the Fortune 500 with $30.6 billion in 2014 revenue, a healthy gain from its $24.5 billion in sales 5 years earlier. Between 2005 and 2014, Publix steadily opened an average of 24 new stores per year, whereas other supermarket chains such as Whole Foods, number 75 on the best companies list, Safeway, and Haggen have announced layoffs in recent months. Publix has never laid off an employee in its 86-year history, but the ranking alone doesn't tell the full story. It's the kind of company I'd like to buy, recently told Fortune. To better understand that magic, I spent 5 days in early February working at a Publix store in a variety of jobs. He embraces the history of Publix and is a true believer in the company's deeply ingrained culture. The company uses that phrase, typically associated with lining up future CEO candidates, because no associate is better or more important than the others. Computers are located in every department, the front office, and the break room to make it easy for associates to take computer-based training courses and to access their benefits information. That message is sent to Public's Human Resources Department, and the associate's name is kept on a list for 6 months to be considered for open positions and matching the request. These are tasks that I haven't performed in more than 20 years since I spent my teens toiling as a part-time stock boy at a family-owned supermarket in Allen Park, Michigan. But the art of it comes back to me all too easily. I want to be taken seriously. I want to become a manager and be seen as a professional. A few of his colleagues have joined him, and other associates have taken to calling them the Bro Tie Gang. By the end of the day, my back is aching from all of the bending over and lifting. But there's really one thing on everyone's mind. It's quarterly dividend day, when all associates who have stock in the company receive their dividend checks. Anyone who stays for at least a year and accrues more than 1,000 hours is granted shares of corporate stock that are initially valued between 8 and 12% of the employee's annual compensation. After a year and a half, he came back to Publix at invitation. Publix, alas, doesn't track what percentage of employees have relatives working at the company, but the examples are endless. A former schoolteacher began working for Publix in 1997 and now oversees the health and beauty aisles in the store. Cutting open the plastic 1-gallon pouches of pre-mixed glaze and dumping them into the glazing tub has to be the stickiest job in the grocery business. Later, I move into the cake decorating area, and I'm immediately entranced by the outsized personality. She's a comic relief in the bakery department. When I arrive wearing the pumpkin orange polo shirt issued to deli workers, I'm instantly thrown into a whirlwind assembly line remaking 2 pinwheel platters for an order that was lost and needs to be delivered to a wake ASAP. Over the course of 4 hours, I make roughly 20 of them, slicing the bread, chopping the tenders, toasting it. 2 hours before the store closes, we begin the messy work of breaking down one of the 2 sandwich stations. When I asked if she wants a career with the chain, she said, I love Publix, but I want to be an architect. Some people want to be store managers. When he takes the reins, Jones will become the first non-family member to run the company. People want to be paid more. They want to be able to provide for their families. I'm amazed that more companies don't offer ownership in the company in order to get better performance, Crenshaw adds. Being a privately held company gives us the freedom to take a longer view of the business, and it makes a huge difference in how you can allocate and spend capital. We're very fortunate to be able to do that. Bagging them isn't stressful, just a tad boring. Then ask them to memorize the slogan inspired by Mr. George. Make every customer's day a little bit better because they met you. They both say they like it. I can't imagine a life better than the one I'm living, thanks to Publix, he says. Still breaking the internet. Business woes aside, Twitter is where the biggest names in politics, media, and the arts break news and change the zeitgeist. Los Angeles, the best, head west. For those who truly love their business, The Return of the Big Shorts by Michelle Celleria. But before that, the best leading indicator is usually the one on your face. The best returns aren't just measured in dollars. And no one knows this better than TD Ameritrade. Now, back to The Return of the Big Shorts with Michelle Celleria. And Michael's, a cheery, art-filled eatery in Midtown Manhattan where media, finance, and entertainment celebrities go to be seen, James Chanos somehow achieves invisibility. Chanos, whose $3 billion Kinnikos Associates hedge fund firm is headquartered next door, has a regular table for lunch in the far corner of the glass-walled back room, superior to most patrons, where he downs his Cobb salad and Diet Coke away from the crowd. Keeping a low profile may benefit the 58-year-old contrarian right now. And with so many of his peers losing money, it's probably best to avoid chances to say, I told you so. With 40% of the Earth's portfolio shorting Chinese stocks, from home builders to banks to Alibaba, he is profiting from the country's economic slide and betting that it's far from done. Investors spooked by the recent stock correction are flocking to their funds again, while the Oscar darling The Big Short, about the guys who successfully bet against the housing bubble, is reminding the public just how prescient they can be. But today's wins also underscore how hard life has been for short investors in recent years. To profit from a falling stock, short investors borrow shares and sell them, assuming those shares will be cheaper to buy back and return to lenders in the future. Recent results at Ursus show how treacherous the strategy can be. A dollar invested in Ursus at the beginning of 2007 would have been worth about 68 cents at the end of 2015, according to estimates by its investors. Not all of that is due to investing losses. Judging correctly that it would be hard to find shorts after 2008's bear market, Kingswood founder Mike Wilkins gave about $800 million back to investors at the end of that year. And overall, within the shorting world, there's been a shift in recent years. As funds get bigger, he says, it becomes hard to borrow enough shares to make a big profit from a short position. A quote from Bill Ackman. The only question we have is whether fundamentalists take it down before the regulators do. The only question we have is whether fundamentals take it down before the regulators do. And that was regarding some of the stocks that the best known short sellers are betting against in 2016. It's easy to give your best when you serve the bravest. Business realities begin to rain on the parade of on-demand startups. How long it takes to break a passcode with Robert Hackett. 4 to 6 digits stand between most iPhone users' personal data and the prying eyes of snoops, criminals, and investigators. To access records stored within, a hacker has little choice but to barrage a lock screen with possible pins until the electronic tumblers click. Problematically, these brute force attempts trigger built-in time delays and potential data wipes. 7 minutes to break a 4-number passcode with a computer, a likely scenario for the San Bernardino gunman's iPhone. And we're going to take a break. So we're back, and this is the Late Late Show with BT, and it's for the Late Late Show with BT. And Money and Health, both April 2016, with Fortune March 15, 2016. So we have a lot of um, magazines that kind of go back, and then we have some that were giveaways that we will be using once we get through these, if we ever get through these. So, John Cale. While sipping beers and touring the Milton, Delaware brewery, located roughly 60 miles off the Atlantic coast, Calagione also speaks of finding inspiration from Minnesota-based punk rock band The Replacements in a Chinese brewing process that is 9,000 years old. I wanted to use the limitless array of culinary ingredients to bring a limitless degree of creativity into commercial brewing, Calagione says, explaining his method of brewing as many as 70 different styles of beer a year. At one point, the brewery was the smallest operation in the country. Today, it is America's 13th largest craft brewery. Case sales of craft beer jumped 18.8% last year and easily bested the industry's 2.1% increase, says market research firm IRI, which tracks sales at supermarkets, gas stations, and other retail outlets. People thought we were thumbing our nose at tradition when we put coffee or maple syrup into beer, Calagione says. With all the experimentation at Dogfish Head, how does the brewery decide which beers make the cut? Feedback from distributors, social media, and beer bloggers all help determine whether the beer is rolled out nationally. He has plenty of company, as 71% of craft beer drinkers say they buy beer to complement their food, a Nielsen survey has reported. Calagione, 46, got his first taste of the beer business waiting tables at a Manhattan bar after graduating from Muhlenberg College. The beer turned out wonderfully, recalls Calagione. He stood on his coffee table and told his roommates he had discovered his passion. That brings us back to Emerson, the external voice that guides Calagione. Perhaps not surprisingly, it's in praise of ignoring the well-trod path and finding your own. He who would gather immortal palms must not be hindered by the name of goodness, but must explore it if it be goodness. He who would gather immortal palms must not be hindered by the name of goodness, but must explore if it be goodness. Is software better at managing people than you are? Jennifer Alsevier. We've all heard of management by the book. Welcome to Management by the Algorithm. Companies have started hiring data scientists and building or buying software that predicts who will leave and who will make the best senior vice president. It's like Moneyball for HR, letting you make better decisions, says Principal Ed Burson by Deloitte, the HR arm of the consulting giant. And this year it has really peaked. Last year, investors put $2 billion behind companies making apps for hiring, performance management, even wellness. It's going to dramatically change the way we work, says head of people analytics at HiQ Labs, which uses external data from multiple sources to predict which employees are most likely to be poached. Using HR data and profiles from a LinkedIn-style internal system, the software looks at correlations between the career paths of successful GE executives and others who have had similar jobs or leadership training. The turnover turned out to be seasonal and the dismissal unwarranted. Laws don't prevent companies from capturing such data, but transparency will keep employers from breaking their trust, argues a law and ethics professor at the University of Denver. He says Cisco designed the software to pinpoint the patterns, behaviors, and factors that add up to a successful team and a fruitful career. Leaders can use it to stay engaged with team members, see how their group stacks up against the best, and receive recommendations to improve. Most of us are curious about how we can be better. This app understands who you are and how you're going to be at your best. The country on track to become the world's top movie market is in the grips of economic malaise. Oh, here's a picture. With Chris Matthews. Indeed, there's a lot to be worried about these days. Contemplate a world that produces 90 million barrels of oil per day, or 32.9 billion per year. Investment consultancy High Frequency Economics wrote in a note to clients, reducing the value of that production by $100 per barrel subtracts $3.3 trillion from world income, which is only $7 trillion to begin with. Reason not to worry, oil has fallen before. There was a similar, though not as huge, shot to the commodity in 1986 when the price fell from $30 a barrel to $15, which didn't tank the economy. If capex spending levels out, however, low gas prices should start being a boon to the U.S. economy rather than a drag. The closely viewed survey of U.S. manufacturing executives by the Institute of Supply Management in February showed the sector contracting for the fifth month in a row. At the same time, companies are having to pay more to borrow, particularly if they have low credit ratings. In December, the differences between borrowing costs of junk grade and investment grade companies rose to just over 7%. Reason not to worry. The good news is that while the spread has risen, the fact that interest rates are still low means that companies, especially investment grade firms, are still paying historically low prices to borrow. And what to watch for? Pay attention to the bond market. Charles Bertrand. This article is about people solving problems for the betterment of mankind. Fly towards something better with the help of 80,000 employees who do everything they can to help you explore what's possible. Keep climbing. Push button, get mortgage. Think beyond basic scrambled. Try these delicious varieties for simply better breakfast. How to beat allergens in the bedroom. How to bounce back from a late night. How to bounce back from a late night. Don't hit snooze. Find the light. Eat a healthy breakfast. Nap smartly. Delay coffee. And that's how to bounce back from a late night. The top 20s diet trap. Booze. With Jacqueline Andriakos. Jacqueline Andriakos. Spend the next 3 weeks ditching the sweet stuff, rewiring your cravings, feeling better every day. But there's a difference between added sugars and the kinds found naturally in whole foods like fructose in fruit and lactose in dairy. Eating naturally occurring sugars is generally considered healthy because they contain nutrients with metabolic benefits such as fiber and antioxidants. After about 3 months, this diet overhaul will be the new familiar. Healthy fats shut off receptors in your brain that stimulate sweetness cravings. So that's basically going for the sugar and stuff like fruits versus candy. Find the strength to be you. Bamboo Beauty. And we're going to take another break. Blenders travel the world. Well, from the fertile plains of Kenya to the foothills of the Himalayan mountains, our 9 master blenders travel the world in search of the finest ingredients available. Then skillfully craft each blend to give you an unbeatable taste experience any time of the day. We're going to take a break with Twinings. So we're back, and it's the Late Late Show with BT, and it's for the Late Late Show with BT. Will it ever get off the ground? I don't know. I want it to. I believe in it. I believe in the vision of it, but will it ever? Only time will tell. So I'm back and my hair is shorter. My hair was about 4 years long, and it was giving me a headache. So I chopped it off right above the neck. So that's about where it was giving me headaches at, like right about right here. So I didn't chop it off myself. I went to someplace and had them cut it for me. But it's a little difficult when they're dreads. So that's how it is. Here it is. You can see it without the hat. I have this one long piece to show you how long it was. Actually, it was longer than this. I had one long piece in it. So yeah, I cut my hair. That's one thing that's new. And we've been going through our little trials as uh, as a host. Um, but I'm back with the show. So this is how it's gonna be for right now. We're gonna try it. Um, we're gonna try it just when the spirit hits me to do this, because I tried doing the show like the show time, but now we're going to take it back a notch and do it from the perspective of for the show. And we're back with Kim Clark, 7 Ways to Bridge the Gap. But even as the Fed acceptance packages begin to arrive in your mailbox showing that your child's and your hard work has paid off, you know you're not done yet. Figuring out the best ways to actually pay those enormous tuition bills is another. It's no secret that a college education is one of the biggest expenses most families ever face, and one that's getting costlier by the year. But it doesn't have to be as bad as you may fear. For one thing, few families really have to pay the scary sticker prices that colleges advertise. Plus, by following the 7 simple strategies on these pages, you can trim the tab by at least $5,000 a year and possibly $10,000 or more. Spelling out may be too generous a term, however. For one thing, assume colleges will raise prices by the recent average of 3% a year or so. Finally, some colleges are much better than others at helping their students graduate on time. If your child plans to live on campus, the college will typically bill you for a standard double room. But students who are willing to bunk in a triple or live in an older building that might lack some amenities can often cut their costs by as much as $2,000 a year. But if your child generally sleeps through breakfast or tends to grab lunch on the go, you can opt for a more limited plan, potentially saving as much as $1,000 a year. Once you know the bottom line price for each school, you can sometimes use that as a leverage to bargain for a better aid package. Instead of immediately sending a deposit to her son's top choice, Ithaca College, the family visited the campus and told a financial aid officer that their son preferred Ithaca but had a better offer from Hofstra. Ultimately, Ithaca sweetened the scholarship offer, bringing the family's net cost down to about $17,000 a year from $19,500. For example, you might have lost your job since you filled out the FAFSA, or someone in your family may have been through a major illness. Notes Managing Director of Policy and Federal Relations for the National Association of Student Financial Aid Administrators. A handful of colleges, such as the university, well, in most states, you'll get a tax break on the money you contribute, even if it's in the plan only briefly before you spend it. A handful of colleges, such as the University of Southern California, let you pay with a credit card without an additional service fee, which means you can rack up some frequent flyer miles or get a little cash back to put in your college fund. The AOTC is the most lucrative, worth a maximum of $2,500 off your tax bill for the year as long as you paid at least $4,000 in tuition. That will entitle you to claim the lifetime learning credit in year 5, which reduces your tax bill by 20% of your tuition costs up to $10,000 in tuition. If you aren't eligible for the LLC, you might be able to take the tuition and fees deduction, which can be worth $1,000 or so depending on your tax bracket. No matter how generous a parent you are, the burden of paying for college shouldn't fall entirely on you. If your family has to borrow, the best way is for your child to take out federal student loans. Research shows that students who work about 12 hours a week during their school year do better academically than their peers without jobs. Before you borrow it all, though, it may be better to revisit your list of colleges. Buckle up when you hit the bear zone. William Osborne. The burden of paying down $30,000 in student loans hasn't sidetracked the Osbornes more than 2013 from their retirement goals. Buckle up in the bear zone. The best trip for your money just landed. Travel tip. Book direct. Travel tip. Drive a better bargain. Travel tip. Book in the new year. Now I'm going for something better than warfarin. Eliquis. Reduce the risk of stroke better than the warfarin. Has significantly less major bleeding than warfarin. No routine blood testing. Eliquis. Now with John Wagner. The timing of this year's slide was particularly troublesome, as taxpayers are usually flush with tax refunds and bonuses to deploy. That's half the S&P's 500 returns, but 3 times the gains for bonds. Covered call funds sound excited, but they're not. These funds self-call options the right for others to buy your stock at a set price on their holdings. If prices rise enough for the option to be exercised, though, your gains will be limited. Options are a better risk management tool than bonds, since they always move in the opposite directions of stocks, which isn't guaranteed with fixed income, says manager of Swan Diversified Risk. In 2008, the ETF lost nearly 29%, but that was 8 points less than the broad market. Fixed income yields are still low, but even at these levels, bonds offer you protection. But if you're nearing retirement or just tired of being terrified, they'll help you stay in the game. In a fickle market, betting on what's trendy has suddenly become a risky business. Boring companies are doing better because they are less volatile in a volatile market. When you become an elite member, you can get extra points, free breakfasts, and better rooms. Mark Griffith. Because the question is, what's your best tip for saving on travel expenses? And Mark Griffith says, when you become an elite member, you can get extra points, free breakfasts, and better rooms. And Tiffany Bonu packed snacks in an empty water bottle to fill up after airport security. And those are some tips for saving on travel expenses. How much to build a small raised garden near you? New York City, $789. Sacramento, $618. Rockford, Illinois, $609. Austin, $548. Charleston, South Carolina, $519. That's how much. What new skill got you the biggest salary bump? How Americans spend $3.5 billion to grow food. 50% on vegetables, 22% in herbs, 13% in berries, and 15% in fruit trees. And so another part of the show is towards the end where we have an out-of-network spotlight, and that's where we showcase one business that's specific for this community. A day in the pool will help you swim with the sharks. Make Monday better. Book a Westin weekend. Enjoy more pool time with 3 p.m. late checkout on Sunday for a better you. Our out-of-network spotlight, Westin Hotels and Resorts. Well, I guess technically this wouldn't qualify for the out-of-network spotlight because it's hotels and resorts, but so we don't have one today. Oh, yes, we do. Eloquist. I'm not gonna find it. So this will go mostly with our regular advertising, our regular show. A day in the pool will help you swim with the sharks, make Monday better, book a Westin weekend. Enjoy more pool time with 3 p.m. late checkout on Sunday for a better you. And we're about to stop. So our out-of-network spotlight, Eloquist. So that has been all. Just kind of getting back into the swing of things and starting the show. And I guess the best thing now is to kind of put everything on paper and figure out where to go from here. But that's all for right now. I'll keep you updated as to how it's going. As you can see in the background, that's part of the vision for the marketing for the show. And that's it. This is a Late Late Show with BT. Bye.